Okay, Travis Wayne Goodsell back from my run, and so I've had time to think, and I've got more to say on the Mormon Porn Wars here in Utah. I'm uploading the video. It's got 35 seconds left to upload, and then 3 hours to process as the Mormon who works for YouTube slows down the processing. They're trying new tricks to try to fool me now. Anyway, porn. In the Utah legislature right now, they're trying to push through a Mormon, it's a Mormon because they're all Mormons, but a bill to place a warning on porn websites of the dangers of porn, the harm it can cause, and there are none. That's the whole point. There are none. and their intention is to scare kids. But if they don't remember being a kid themselves, it doesn't scare kids. It gets them curious. It gets them wanting to know the answers. Why is it dangerous? What is all this secret about porn? I want to know. And they'll find a way to find out. And then they realize, I'm not harmed. I'm supposed to be burning in hell right now, but I'm not harmed. It actually feels good. And so, that's what happens. Now, I was a Mormon kid. I know all about it. You know, I went to a baseball practice, and one of my teammates said, "Hey, Travis, come check this out." "No, I want to play ball." "Come on." "Fine, if it'll get you to leave me alone." And yeah, there was a magazine opened up. And then another time, my mom was fed up with me, so she stopped the car and told me to get out and walk the rest of the way home and go into the back of the station wagon, because we had station wagons in those days, and get out a trash bag and pick up the trash along the way. I was the rebel, didn't want to pick up any trash, so I just walked home with the empty bag. However, thanks to my mother and her frustration with me, guess what I beheld on the road? The side of the road was an open magazine. "Thanks, Mom." And then my mom had us kids sit at the kitchen table and put out the old Sears catalog as the new one has come in. Remember Sears? You millennials might not know Sears because it's gone out of business. Thanks to Bush. And so we get the Sears catalog, and we were taught to do collages. You know, get a piece of paper, cut out pictures from the Sears catalog, and glue it onto the paper or tape it on. And lo and behold, there's the woman section. "Thanks, Mom." And so, what else? There's lots of stuff in my youth. But, so when I want to become a deacon, teacher, or priest, or whatever, I go into the bishop for an interview, and back then, boys and girls, the bishops didn't have a standard format to read off and ask questions about, and not stray from the questions. He was free to ask any kind of question. And so he's asking if I've done certain things, and I'm like, "Huh? What? What is that? I want to know, but I'm not going to ask." and so "Have you ever looked at porn?" "Well, okay, yeah." "All right, you're on disciplinary action." "Huh?" So yeah, that's the harm of pornography, is the bishop punishing you for having looked at it. That's the only real harm. Oh yeah, then my mother flashing me. So that was another one. No thanks, Mom. And so I know all about the subject matter. It does not cause harm. Only those who cause harm are those who use it as a punishment against those who view it. And everybody knows that because of the alt-right Christian movement banning it, calling it taboo, did the porn industry become a multi-billion-dollar industry. But what toppled it to become just $1 million industry today? The internet. Free access. Just sliced their profits as a result. Okay. Utah Mormon legislature creating idol god to fear is now ready. And we are publishing. And then we're closing. And then Book of Mormon plates to be translated has 39 views, which is not its average for the current situation, and 1 like, so nobody's put a dislike as they did for Oakes's to resume polygamy in April 2024. Somebody doesn't like that. It's gonna happen whether Mormons agree with it or not, because that's what they're setting up. That's what criminals do. You recognize them because they plan it out over a long period of time, and you see them take step-by-step actions towards that end goal, so that once the crime is committed, you go, yeah, we can trace the money, we can trace the activity and the planning and so I can tell you the church is going to do it. They have made arrangements with someone who's going to destroy America so that they can have their kingdom back and establish polygamy. That's what the Mormon leaders want. And they're distracting Mormons with brainwashing techniques, such as declaring porn a national security threat. And so, yeah, it's not a coincidence that the Utah legislature is pushing porn while we're in a national crisis right now, as Trump has been acquitted of all his crimes, and now he's retaliating against all who testified against him and those who were wrongfully arrested in connection with the crimes committed in the 2016 election. As the Attorney General Barr is now trying to shut it all down. So, yeah, that's the tactic of alt-right threats. Yes, they are domestic terrorists, and they are taking over our nation and Utah. They've taken over Utah long ago. We're stuck in it. So here's what I'm proposing that the people who are protesting, the organizations and the groups that are protesting the legislature, I don't know who they are. The news isn't reporting it. And so I don't know the name of the organization to search for them and to reach out for contact. But if you guys know, please forward them this video. Here's what they need to do to argue against alt-right people. You need to think as they do. Remember the brainwashing category classifications of dichotomy and non-dichotomy spectrum? The alt-rights is the category. That's how they think, and they don't think outside of that box. They only think within that box, and you can't tell them otherwise. You can't be outside of the box and tell them this is what reality is. They don't believe you. They call you fake news, they call you the enemy, etc., etc. And Mormons throw in Antichrist, apostate, etc. And so what needs to be done is you need to use an example within their box. Police body cams. Police body cams record when a police officer arrives at the scene of the crime, where it will cover the shootings that go on, the whatever other crimes that are committed. Now, inform the legislature, the alt-right legislature. Police officers have to hand over the body cam video footage after making an arrest, because it needs to be screened to make sure that the police officer did the right thing, but also it is used as evidence in a court of law. The body cam footage itself is not criminal. To see where the argument is? The legislature is claiming that video footage of porn is the crime. It's the harm. But I've now used their own logic against them. Police body cam footage. It is not the crime itself, but it is used in a court of law as evidence to show that a crime was committed. Now, when we come to porn, it's all actors and actresses. If there's a violation of someone's life, liberty, and property, where there are children involved getting videotaped in sexual situations, the video footage itself is not the crime, it's the evidence of a crime being committed against those children. And so the police officers or the federal officers need to be pursuing the people who committed the crime on the video. And then they can confiscate the video from whatever site or whatever that was showing it, so that it can be used as evidence in the case. But we're not seeing that happen. And instead, people are pursuing those who view it and try to shut that down so that people don't see it. And that's where the people outside of the box are protesting, saying, hey, the First Amendment, guys. Alt-right don't care about the First Amendment rights. Security is more important than First Amendment rights. So you've got to show them that process of thinking. Body cam footage on a police officer videos criminal activity of the person they arrested. It is not a crime. The video is not a crime. It is not harmful. The footage, however, does reveal criminal activity. And the video is then used as evidence to convict the person of criminal activity. That's how it works. That fits within their box. Use that against them. And we can quit all this nonsense. Because the church is messing with lots of things here in Utah, pushing abstinence among the people, and abstinence is the harm. Misinformation and disinformation is the harm, because you're not properly instructing the people, not properly educating the people. And the news, shame on them. They're supposed to investigate. They're not just supposed to report whatever they're told to report by the police officers or by the legislature. They're supposed to fact check them. They're supposed to say, Mr. Legislature, no. That's ridiculous. The news is supposed to keep them in check because the news is supposed to actually investigate. But instead, the news is complicit here in Utah. They just report whatever they're told to report. And that is the part of the brainwashing that's going on. with the misinformation and disinformation campaign. And so, yeah, no wonder Mormons are stuck in their category box. Because, well, if the news is saying something bad, well, then they're not true news. They're fake news, aren't they? So put a stop to this. I'm going to reach out to my legislative representative here in Utah and inform him of this same process and include Mormonism in it, because he's Mormon, pointing out Abinadi, protested the government and was arrested, but specifically the body cam example. I don't think he's involved in the committees that's pushing this through. He may only be a vote in the final voting of it, but at least I'll have tried to convince him not to vote for it. So do the same, guys. We need to stop this nonsense. This is just ridiculous. The fear and the paranoia that they're spreading has to stop.